It's another edition of Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. And yes, we are revisiting this year's best audiobooks. Today, it's a discussion with Michelle Cobb about Whoopi Goldberg's memoir, Bits and Pieces. I love Whoopi Goldberg. I just
Oh,
think she is so funny. And
she
yeah,
is.
she's so funny. And a really, really good performer, too.
Yes, fantastic. And you forget because she's not in movies in the same way, but I
Mhm.
think back to, things like Ghost and sort of her
The Color Purple.
The Color Purple, yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I think of Ghost as being a Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Exactly, me too.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about why is this in grief?
So this is about her loss of her mother and her brother, both of whom she
Oh,
was very close to, and both of whom have passed on. And it's warm, it's appropriately emotional, it's a very engaging listen, and she probably wrote it in the middle of the night because she's not one for sleeping much. Um, I really enjoyed hearing her recollections, even of the difficult moments, because, for instance, her mother was sent away with a mental illness and was
oh.
changed upon return, but it wasn't until years later that Whoopi comes to realize exactly what happened there and how it impacted her mother.
Now, she grew up in New York, correct?
Yes,
And that's a big part of her story too.
absolutely. And the memoir is kind of nonlinear and it jumps around a bit, but it sounds like it was just such a wonderful experience in her growing up. It wasn't like they had a ton of money and it wasn't like they didn't have challenges, but they've come to a wonderful acceptance of each other and reverence. And there's just all that joy really comes through in her reading. And on that level, it was truly one of the most natural sounding celebrity audiobooks I've ever had the pleasure of listening to.
Well, that's saying something because you like your celebrity audiobooks.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell she was reading so much. It was more that she was talking because they let her react. So you hear her laughing and just having responses in a way that you don't get in a lot of audiobooks. So I applaud whoever directed and produced it because that made it so much more engaging. And it helps you. I think it would have been hard to read with your eyes if you're because it's a bit nonlinear, but we're just listening to her story and
Mhm.
being in those moments with her.
You're being entertained with her.
Yes, but you're also like understanding the lessons and the way she shared them was really wonderful. So I felt like if you were not a fan of Whoopi Goldberg before, when you listen to this, you absolutely will be.
Okay, well, let's hear a little.
This is where she introduces her family and her background.
Okay, this is Bits and Pieces, My Mother, My Brother, and Me, written and read by Whoopi Goldberg.
I thought my mother was the most interesting, beautiful, funny, and wise person in the world, and Clyde was the coolest sibling anybody could possibly have. I felt that way as a kid, and it never changed. I knew I was lucky that my mom and Clyde allowed me to hang with them. It's not like they didn't want me around. They had bonded in this magical nucleus of two, which they then expanded to include me. The three of us lived in the Chelsea Projects at 26th Street and 10th Avenue in Manhattan, in a 5-room apartment on the 6th floor of a 12-story brick building. There were 9 other buildings that matched ours. We had about 2,400 close neighbors, lots of folks of every color, religion, language, and culture, all packed into a couple of city blocks. Apparently, we lived in the projects because we were poor, but I did not know that. When you're a little kid, you accept things the way they are. Nobody told me what poor meant because everyone around me is in the same situation.
Oh, I want more. I really
Yes,
want more. And talk about telling a story as opposed to reading a story.
exactly.
Yeah, you feel like you're involved. I mean, and I think that's it. It's
Yes.
almost like a level of participation for the listener, right? I mean, you feel like you're actually involved in a conversation with somebody.
That's a great way to put it. And I feel very lucky because I actually got to interview her. We're doing a little video, so she'll talk a little bit about her perspective. So I think it'll be a great companion piece to listening to this as well.
Oh my goodness, that's fabulous. Okay, that's Bits and Pieces, My Mother, My Brother, and Me. written and read by Whoopi Goldberg. Today's episode of Behind the Mic is brought to you by Pay the Piper, a terrifying supernatural horror set in a Louisiana bayou. It's narrated by Sophie Amos, and it's written by legendary director George Romero and author Daniel Kraus. Audible says it's one of the best of the year. That's Pay the Piper. Be sure to check out AudioFile's website, audiofilemagazine.com, for our full list of 2024 best audiobooks, and check out Michelle's conversation with Whoopi. We'll have a link in our show notes. I'm Jo Reed. I'll talk to you tomorrow.